Okay, wait. You're telling me you want more word problems? Okay, well, I guess practice is perfect. Here are more word problems from 6.5. I took one out of the textbook. It's page 302, number 13. All right, so a shopping mall entrance contains a parabolic arc modeled by the equation h equals 2 and then the entire equation. H represents the height in meters and d represents the distance in meters from one end of the arc to the other. So they want to know how wide is this arc. And I just drew what I think it might look like on the left-hand side. Okay, so we have, just from the equation, I noticed that the vertex is at 8 and 32. And I want to find out the two x-intercepts because, or in this case, I guess, d-intercepts, because that's going to tell me how wide this arc is going to be. And I have two methods in trying to find that. Okay, the very first method is, well, to find the d-intercept, we need to make h 0. And then we're going to solve for d. So notice that I took the 32 over to the other side. It became a negative 32. And then to get rid of the 0.5, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 0.5. We're just using algebra. We're just solving. Those are going to go away. Okay. The next step is we're going to square root both sides. We want to get rid of this squared. So by square rooting both sides, I'm actually going to get a positive and negative 8. Okay, so that's going to give us our two different d-intercepts. Once I have the positive negative 8, I want to bring the 8 over to the other side. It's going to become a positive, so here's our positive 8 over here. And that positive negative 8 was the one from the previous step. Now our two answers are 8 plus 8, which gives us the 16, and then 8 minus 8, which gives us the 0. Okay, so obviously this one's probably the 0 and this one's the 16. Now to get the width, I'm just going to subtract them. So we have 16 meters. Okay, now another way that we could have done this is instead of bringing everything over to one side and solving for d, we could have just did it in a couple more steps where you would have had to expand into standard form. Okay, so here is standard form. And that's just FOIL again and distributive law. Then we would simplify, and we obviously have to factor in order to get, remember 6.2, we need to factor in order to get the two intercepts. Okay, you can actually use the quadratic formula as well in this case. So this is just 6.2, or if you really want to, you can use 6.4. And again, take a look, we get the exact same answers, 0 and 16. Okay, so either method works. All right, let's take a look at another one. Here is a very common question, something to do with consecutive numbers. Now, consecutive numbers are numbers that are right after each other. So, for instance, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all consecutive numbers. And I don't know, 34, 35, 36, those are also consecutive numbers. Now, if you don't know what your first consecutive number is, shouldn't your other one be one higher? And then if I continue, the next one should be 2 higher. So in this case, let's say x was 1. Well, x plus 2, isn't that just 1 plus 2? And that would give me 3. And the next one would be x plus 3 and so on. Okay, so in this question, they're asking you for two consecutive integers, and you're going to sum them together, which means you're going to just add them together. But you're not just going to add them together, you're actually going to add their squares together. Okay, so that's where I got the x and x plus 1. These are our two consecutive numbers. I'm squaring them and adding them together, and they told me that equals 365. So that's right here. All right, there's my equation. Notice that they haven't asked you for a maximum or minimum. I know that I actually have to figure out what x equals to. Okay, so again, I'm expanding and simplifying until I get to standard form. And I immediately know, okay, once I get there, I'm going to need to know what x equals to, and I can do that by doing, again, 6.2 or 6.4. All right, now instead of actually going through all the factoring, I thought, let's use the surefire way. I'm just going to do quadratic formula, and that's shown in the red. And I got my two answers, 13 and negative 14. Okay, the two cases are, if x is equal to 13, then the next consecutive number must have been 14. If the case was x was negative 14, then the next consecutive number that should have been one higher would be negative 13. That's a little bit confusing for people. These types of questions are very similar all the time in that you'll always get the two numbers that are positive and two numbers that are negative, and they end up to be the same numbers all the time. All right? So your two numbers are either the first case, 13 and 14, or the second case, negative 13 and negative 14. And at the bottom, you can see that I just did a check really quickly. So over here in this step, I decided to just square both the 13 and the 14, and lo and behold, I do get 365 when I add them. Notice that in the other check, when I square negative 14 and negative 13, well, they should give me the exact same numbers as before. The negatives would just disappear. And when I add them, again, 365. So both of these work. Let's try one more example. A revenue question. Now, we've done that before. Remember the Canadian Goose jackets and things like that. I just want to break it down a little bit easier. Here's the overall revenue question. If you ever want to buy something and you're wondering how much people actually make off of it, you need to multiply the price of that item by how many items that company actually sells. And since they're asking for a maximum product, I know that I have to complete the square, which is 6.1. Okay, now before I can complete the square, I obviously need to put it into standard form. And even before that, I need a formula. So here's the way that I always break down revenue questions. It's so simple. I'm going to take the $2 numbers. Okay, so anything that tells me about the price. $18 is going to be your original amount. And since it says it's going to be increased, I'm going to put a plus. And it says every dollar, so that's where the 1 comes from. And I'll explain X in a second. Then in the other bracket, the number sold, well, that's just the other numbers that don't have dollar signs. Those usually talk about the sales. So normally they would make 1,200 sales, but because you're increasing the price, people are no longer interested in your product, and you're going to decrease by 40 sales. Here's the hardest part to understand about the revenue questions. What does X actually mean? So X is the number of loonies you're putting on top of the original $18. Okay, so it's a number of $1 increases. I think you'll understand a little bit more once I get to the end. So again, this has to be in standard form. So I'm going to do FOIL and expand up until I get to standard form, which is right about here. All right, and then the rest of it is completing the square. So that again was 6.1, completing the square. Now I have my vertex form. The very last number is going to be my maximum revenue, and that happens when x equals to positive 6. In other words, 6 loonies need to be added to my original price. But what does that mean about the price then? Okay, if you're going to add 6 loonies to your price, that means a total of $6 is going to be added to your original price. And your original price was 18 bucks. So what you should be actually selling your product at is $24, because that's going to give you that maximum price, or sorry, the maximum revenue of 23,040 bucks. All right, well, I'm hoping that this tutorial was helpful. If you need some help, you can definitely comment on the video and I can help you out.